Okay, so we're live on. Welcome, everyone. I think we are. I see the faces of our friends on Zoom here, and the Facebook live stream is now active. So welcome, whichever platform that you're on. We're glad that you are with us. I am Clint McCann, one of the co-chairs of the International Board, along with Zania Chavez. We are missing, as we suggested earlier before we actually officially got started, we're missing Joe this morning, his eye surgery yesterday, so he's on the road to recovery. Keep him in thoughts, prayers, and meditations for a full and rapid recovery. I'm seeing, I don't know who's on Facebook, of course, I can't tell that, but I'm seeing folks not only in the United States here, but India, and Nepal and El Salvador. So we, as is regularly the case on Friday, are gathering an audience from all over the world. So that's always exciting to me, and I'm glad that you all are part of it. Our program this morning is being presented by Vicky Jiménez. Vicky, I think as most of you know, but I'm going to give her a short introduction anyway. Vicky is Director of Education and the Immersion Experience Programs for IPM. She's been on the IPM staff since September of 2019. And she, of course, is based in El Salvador, working regularly with Adela and Fatima and Aneda, as well as our several project partners in the country. Vicky is a 2017 graduate of the University of Central America in San Salvador. She has a background in psychology and teaching and working with youth and working with adults, not only in terms of psychology and mental health, but dancing as well. So Vicky is multi-talented. And as I think you probably already know, although we're going to get an update on it this morning, Vicky has been working very diligently on our immersion program, including the necessity in recent months, of course, due to the pandemic, the necessity of virtual immersion. So that's what we're going to hear about this morning. And Vicky, welcome as the presenter, and we look forward to your presentation.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Clint. Good morning, everyone, and good night for our friends in Nepal and in India. I'm very happy to be sharing today a small update on the Immersion Experience Program. And as many of you might know, on September 17th, a couple of weeks ago, actually, I shared with our International Executive Board another update about this program. So today I would also like to focus maybe not so much on numbers or on things we have previously seen, but a little bit more on content and more on how IPM's vision and mission and core values are related to the new Virtual Immersion Experience Program. I will be sharing just a little bit of, let's say, statistics, but they're just rough numbers with you as well. I think most of you have already seen it, but to our friends on Facebook that perhaps haven't, I think this will be also new information. And I will also be sharing just a little bit about the planned or the upcoming programming we have in mind. So I'll just share my screen, just a second, please. Okay, can you all see my screen? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect, thank you. All right, so just a second. Okay, so to start with, I wanted to, have a little refresher, a reminder of, like I said, IPM's mission statement or vision and our core principles. So for the mission statement, it says, IPM works across borders of faith, culture, and economic circumstance with children, women, and youth to create partnerships that build justice, peace, and hope. As you might have seen, I have underlined some keywords, and in this case are to create partnerships and across borders. And this is actually from, this screenshot is from the last vid that we had back in May with the John Carroll University. And this was a session on CAST with one of her project partners, and it was Prayas from Nepal. So to me, and this I left it because it says Nepal, it's exactly this. It's that word, it's that work across borders. It's that relationship that we're having. You know, I'm from El Salvador. We had all of these young ladies you can see over here from the United States. You can see Joe as well, and you can see Mahesh, who was in India at that moment, connecting and creating that work across borders. I believe this is, yes, of course, something that it's in every single immersion experience program, not necessarily the virtual one. But as you might know, we have had to, you know, update and adapt to our new reality that is the pandemic. We couldn't travel internationally, and this was a new way of still keeping up with this mission in the light of a pandemic, in the reality of a pandemic. And I think this is something that we can keep on doing. Personally, I feel very attracted to the work of inclusion, and I believe that's something that it's so important and so innovative, I will even say, about the virtual program, is that, you know, people that cannot travel for whatever reason, people that can't travel internationally or even inside the United States, can have the feeling of an immersion this way. You literally only need Wi-Fi connection and, you know, a technological device that can support Zoom and Google. So I think it's a great way to keep on learning, to keep on doing this transformational learning and connecting people, like I said, across borders in a different way, and in a way that, like I said, it's inclusive. Next, I would like to go through our vision, and it's IPM partners with community-based organizations around the world that serve the needs of children, women, and youth. We strive to provide opportunities for partnerships that are personal and effective, in part through our Immersion Experience Program, allowing donors and friends to engage directly with our partners from across the globe. And again, you can see that I've highlighted some keywords. Why personal and effective? Well, while we were building this program, one of the things we were concerned about was, how are we going to connect people that are on a screen, and how are we going to first get them engaged, and second, what are we going to do with those project partners or those guest speakers that or those community partners that sometimes cannot be on Zoom. I know most of you, or some of you, have already traveled with IPM, and you have seen the realities of our community partners and our project partners. Some of them don't have access to this kind of technology where they can have this Wi-Fi. Some of them don't have Wi-Fi at homes, even if they have this technology. So a big challenge was, how are we going to make people connect with each other? And one of the things we did was to create the Google Classroom, of course. And yes, you can see a lot of material there, but one of the important things about the Google Classroom is that we also gather the information about the project partners there. So even if you couldn't see the project partners on Zoom, like for example, over here, you could see Himet from Poetry Foundation. Even if you could see, even if let's imagine you couldn't have seen him at that moment, we still had Mahesh with us in this session. So for example, if whatever happened to him in this moment, Mahesh would be his representative. And even if Mahesh was not there, you can still have access to information about Poetry Foundation. I don't have these, just a second. This is another screenshot that was important to me. It's related to another thing, but I also wanted to share about this one. something that happened in this immersion, this was back in January, and this was with the ladies of Stonehill College. And they were in a virtual immersion to the Dominican Republic. And I specifically took this screenshot from a session because, as you can see, there's all of them, and there's only Adela, Aneda, and me. And this is what I'm talking to you about. Because of the reality of people in El Cercado, in the Dominican Republic, it was very difficult for them to hop on Zoom, to be on Zoom. Sometimes even the ones that would have the access or the opportunity to be on Zoom will encounter themselves with the reality that Wi-Fi was coming in and out, and it was dropping the call for them throughout the session. However, there was Adela, Aneda, and myself that were trying to, be this bridge or this connection between the people from El Cercado to the ladies of Stonehill. And by the end of this particular immersion, I was amazed to see not just on the final reflection, but also on their evaluation forms, that even though they didn't get to see the work, or sorry, they didn't get to listen directly from Joanna about her work, they did get to dimension it, and they did get to understand how important her work was. I was amazed that these ladies sat through a whole week, and mostly of that week it was just with Adela, Aneda, and myself, not necessarily from someone from the Dominican Republic. Yes, we had Glory, which is Joanna's daughter, and we also had Chana, who is a woman leader that is in charge of a couple of projects over there, and they are both amazing. And we could see that they connected so well with them as well. But it was, I would say it was a relief, and it was an accomplished goal to see that even though they couldn't see directly some of the amazing people that we know are in the Dominican Republic, they could still feel connected, not just with their work, but with their mission as well. I'm going back here to our core principles now. There are 4, but I will be focusing just on 3. The first one is the shared partnership, and it says where mission is a two-way street, and we learn and receive more than we can teach or give. I think, again, not just in the virtual immersions, but also in the regular immersions, one of the hardest things for participants, and sometimes even for us staff to do, it's just to sit and pay attention and listen and let whatever people are telling us inside. And when I mean inside, I'm not just saying, think about it. I'm also saying to feel what the other person is feeling. And again, I will have this screenshot because, again, one of the things that amazed me the most was we focused a lot during this immersion in history so that they could understand the present day context of the Dominican Republic, specifically in terms of the Dominican Republic's relationship with Haiti, and topics such as xenophobia and racism. And it amazed me to see how these young ladies were saying in their evaluations again and in their reflections about how surprised they were that racism was not just a topic or a phenomenon of importance in the States, and they were amazed to see how it would translate in the Dominican Republic in many different ways. And they sat through the whole week listening to us, and at times I was a little afraid, of being honest, I was a little afraid that they perhaps would be getting a little bit tired, because they would have to sit through 3 sessions for an entire week so they could complete their program, their 15-hour program. And we were a little afraid with my colleagues Adela and Aneda that they perhaps were not were not enjoying it so much, or that it was too much of a heavy material, especially the part of history with Haiti. But in the end, I was surprised to see that they took that to one-way street, because they were also sharing with us what they were living in the States and how they were relating with the people from the Dominican Republic and from El Cercado, again, without being with most of them on Zoom. They were still having an open heart, having an open mind, and being open to that two-way street to learn even more. So I think, again, that's an accomplished goal and an accomplished principle that the virtual program had, in the spite of the challenges it may present. The next principle is the global awareness, and it says that we are all part of an interconnected world community through immersion experience programs and outreach activities. Again, I will be sharing this one now more briefly. To me, it was incredible that these ladies from this immersion could remember so much of what we have told them. And I was very happy and very thankful to see not only were they present for, this is actually a video, that's what you're seeing in the screenshot. We were presenting a video that we later commented on. And again, it was about the historical relationship between Haiti and the Dominican Republic. But the great thing about this session and this group was that they took the time to review all of the material that was in Google Classroom, and they really went in the sessions with more information. So they would ask us more questions, and they would see how what was in the Google Classroom was relating to what we were showing them. To me, this relates not only to this principle that we have here, that it's not just that global awareness, but that self-motivation to achieve this global awareness. And this is also one of the core competencies that we have as part of the virtual program, that it's the ability to learn by yourself, the ability to take responsibility and reflect on your own learning. And to me, this was so important. Again, I will mention what they said, that they were, and you will see it in one of the reflections as well, that it really opened their eyes to see that there are issues that are not just lived in the United States, but globally, and how could they relate to this? They were referring to this specifically in the topic of racism, but in other things as well. The other core principle that we have is personalization, where the project partners work directly with donors and friends. And this is from the Open VIP we had in February in India. And what I loved so much about this one, and I'm going to share something here, it was how Mahesh would usually call Joe's dad Papa Joe. And how he would feel so that he trusts them so much, and he has this great connection with them already, that he can call him that. And I loved seeing Carol and Margie and Joe's parents and Emily and Ron connecting with him, and again listening how they had their impressions and their personal connections with him, with Mahesh and with Bindya. And how inspired they were, and how much attention they were really paying when each of them were talking. And specifically, I would say what caught my attention the most, and what I would say is this part, personalization, is that I will go back to a couple of slides here, was this session that I really love that Himad does with the help of Bindya as well, where he not only shares the story and the work of Pujupai Foundation, but he also shares his personal history. I think this is something so powerful that, again, it's of course in every in-person program of the immersion experience, but I loved how we could, and how he could still capture this in the virtual program. I think it's something that it's very, very powerful, and again accomplishes this principle. Now, just to very quickly go through some numbers, I know most of you, if not all of you, have already seen these, In a year, we started with the virtual immersions on September of last year. So the virtual immersion program is 1 year old as of this September of 2021. And in 1 year, we've developed 6 virtual immersions, each with their Google Classrooms. Out of these 6, 5 have been from the one country model, and 1 has corresponded to the global model. From the 5 country one, we've had 2 to India, 2 to El Salvador, and 1 to the Dominican Republic. And the global one corresponded to the topic of caste. And it includes, of course, caste, racism, colorism, and tribalism, and the culture of miscegenation or mestizaje. This is a very rounded number, I would say. It's 56 participants, particularly because in one of our immersions from last year, from December of last year, it was accredited immersion. So we had a group, a large group, I would say, of people. Some of them were very permanent, but some of them would come in and out of calls. So that's what I would say we would have. This is a round number. So what again is part of our commitment to our project partners, and it's not just a part of the donation, but the part of being again that bridge that connects people from the United States with the rest of the world. So in this year, we've had all of these project partners in here. So you can see from Colombia, we had 2 that are Ser Mujer and Working Children participating in the virtual programs. We've had our community partner from the Dominican Republic participate as well. We've had our 5 project partners from El Salvador participate, our 3 fellows from India. We've had 2 project partners from Kenya participate, and 2 project partners from Nepal as well. To us, it's, I would say, very important as well to give a voice. I'm going to correct myself. I wouldn't say it's to give a voice, but to let others that are fighting for social change have another platform, or use us as a platform to share the work that they're doing, not just our project partners, but also other people, other organizations, and other individuals we are connected with. So that's why I said, I put over there, we listen to their voices. And this is a particular case of our guest speakers. So you can see that we had 1 guest speaker from Colombia, and you can see that it was for, he was talking about racism in Colombia. From the Dominican Republic, we had 1 guest speaker who was also sharing a little bit of racism and xenophobia. And I actually left something out, which is she was sharing about an education program as well, that it's in El Cercado, because she's aware of this. From El Salvador, we have 3 guest speakers, 2 that correspond to the multi-faith area, and 1 that usually talks and discusses a little bit more about migration. From India, we had, thanks to Mahesh, this amazing organization called VCOP that touched the topic of gender equity in an amazing way. We've actually had them in our Friday forums. And I'm pretty sure I see Kathy has joined us, and I see Joe has joined us as well. And I'm sure they would remember these amazing group of ladies when they were in the Indian immersion, because that's when they participated. We also had, for the cast beat, we had Professor Shaw, who gave an excellent session on caste in India. And our great friend Terry Mutuku from the Kandula project in Kenya connected us with all of these amazing other ladies, which are Essie, Linda, and Diana. Diana is actually also representing Zimbabwe. And they were all giving this, I would just say, master session on tribalism, racism, and colorism in Kenya and more broadly in sub-Saharan Africa. It was amazing. And the people from John Carroll that participated were really engaged with them and with this session. I think it was very important for them to see, just a group of powerful women, and that's why they were so inspired by them, because the John Carroll group was actually all women. And from Nepal, we had the amazing Namaraj Silwal, who also discussed a little bit of what caste was in Nepal. And again, it was so powerful to hear from him. So I'm not going to go, itinerary by itinerary, because I don't want to put you all to sleep today. But I do want to share more broadly what we learned during AVIP. So ideally, let's say, and I will say why I'm doing the little covers. Ideally, in the one country model, we learn about the country's history and culture. We learn about socioeconomic and political analysis. We do this analysis. We have, of course, the learning portion that it's learning from community-based projects and advocacy and spirituality. On the other hand, with our global or thematic VIPs, we have the 5 topics that you already know, which are caste, that again revolves around racism, tribalism, etc., environmental justice, gender equity and human rights for women and girls, migration and refugees, and multi-faith relations. The thing is, when I was doing this presentation and also going through all of the memories about each of these VIPs, was that they all connect with each other. And again, the friends that were on, for example, the India VIP won't let me lie. Yes, we reviewed history and culture and the present day reality analysis. We learned from our fellows and we had reflections, yes, but we also learned about caste. But we also learned about gender equity and human rights for women and girls. We also had a glimpse of those multi-faith relations. When you see the one from the Dominican Republic, you can see the same. You learn about caste, you learn about environmental justice in El Cercado, you learn about gender equity. You learn a lot because we focus a lot on this part of migration and refugees in the Dominican Republic. And again, with the part of multi-faith relations. And I would say that it's something that goes across all of the one country VIPs. And if we examine it the other way around, the same thing happens. For example, for this pilot that we have, the caste VIP, which was our very first global or thematic VIP, I would see, and also in the sessions that I had to give, I would still have to focus a lot on history and culture, because there were things that people wouldn't fully understand without that context. And that part of that context also was socioeconomic and political analysis of each country. When Glory Isabel Peterson shared a little bit about what was racism and xenophobia and colorism like in the Dominican Republic, she had to go back and share these two things about the relationship of the DR and Haiti. She also had to share about what her mom, which is Joanna Peterson, was doing in El Cercado. And of course, we always have our reflection, which in the end is this part of advocacy and spirituality. And this goes in both ways, as I was saying. So yes, I would say this is theoretically, sorry, how how the one country and how the global thematic VIP are different and how they are structured, but I think they all interconnect in the end. Now I would be sharing, I will share just briefly the impact, and these are just some reflections that the participants have left in the evaluation form. And it says, this virtual immersion experience helped me understand that advocacy on a smaller scale can trigger the butterfly effect, where one action inspires more. I am now more motivated because I know that I have the power and privilege to create change. This, to me, was important to read because, again, one of our core competencies, and actually the last one that Joe and I listed, was to create and to have these things that you're learning be a motivation to create change. And that's the last core competency that we wrote, to create content that is relevant to real world issues. So to me, this spoke on a higher level because I said, well, this is again a core competency that was achieved when I see this reflection. The next one says, it destroyed the notion that we face exclusive programs here in America. All nations face race and gender bias, and we should work together as a world to tackle these issues. And again, I'm not just going to refer to all of those core values that I just read of IPM, but also to the core competencies that I have read on and on and on. And that's what I haven't brought today, because I have discussed those very, very more, very, very much on previous forums. But there is another core competency that says that you are aware of what is going on globally. And again, this is, to me, an indicator that we are reaching that core competency. The last reflection says, the VIP reinforced how important the work of IPM is and how important it is to be a global citizen, which will be my ongoing commitment, both as a matter of faith and as a matter of good citizenship. Again, to me, this was so important because it made me realize again how, even though it was through a screen, we still feel connected and we still feel that commitment to the work and to the people we are learning about, not just the ones we're meeting, but the ones we are learning about. And I think I said this in probably my first virtual forum, but one of the main challenges when we were building this program was how to make people feel connected, how to build that sense of community that you have once you are in a real, in an in-person immersion experience. And it spoke to me because of something that happened last year with IPM, but mainly this year because after a year of developing this program and running it, I have seen how technology, yes, it can sometimes separate us when we're in a room filled with people and everyone is on their phone, but also how it can bring us together and how the good use of technology can still bring our humanity and our love and care for each other every single day. I will now be, this is actually my last slide. I will be sharing a little bit about the upcoming programming. The first thing that I would like to say is this is what we want to happen, and this is what we are planning will happen. Of course, with the pandemic, we are not 100% sure it will, but our hope is that it will. The first one is the mini VIP to El Salvador with our international executive board. However, I would like to invite all of you that are watching us, even if it's on Facebook or on Zoom, to join us. You are still welcome to join us. I have been working with my colleagues Adela and Aiden Fatima, and of course with the project partners, and they are all very, very excited that they will be visited virtually. They are always asking, of course, when will it be in person, but I know that they are still very, very happy to get this opportunity to connect and very thankful as well. I'm not going to reveal names, but even some of them sometimes ask for rehearsal so they can do it the best way possible. And some of them, give us a very structured itinerary that they have worked for a couple of months. So what you will be seeing then, it's not just the work, of a week or, just getting together one morning. It's the work of the project partners. It's their work of a couple of months, I would say. So We will be very, very happy to have anyone else that wants to join us to come in the VIP. And of course, you can always email me or contact me to have more information about this. The second one we are hoping that will happen is the El Salvador Tagalog Immersion Experience. So you can join Joe, who will be hopefully, and depending on how everything goes, will be coming to El Salvador from November 15th to November the 20th of this year, sorry. We are also planning on developing another cast beat. This one will be an open one. So if you or someone that you know might be interested in this one, please contact me. We will be more than happy to have you join us. Usually, well, we've only had one immersion of this type, but with this global type, we try to do it for a week. And usually we have a couple of sessions in the morning and a couple of sessions in the afternoon. And the sessions in the morning will be mainly focused on our project partners in South Asia and in Sub-Saharan Africa, so that we don't wake them up in the middle of the night and we are considerate of their time. The next immersion we're planning, this is an in-person immersion to Italy, and it will be from December the 28th, 2021, from January the 7th, 2022. Again, if you want more information on this, you can contact either me or Joe about this one. And finally, the last two that you can see in there are El Salvador immersions, in-person immersions. One is on May 2022. Hopefully, the Holy Cross group will join us. And the other one, it will probably be on summer of 2022, and it will be with Falls Church. And they are a United Methodist Church from Virginia, and they are actually the ones who were very interested at first in the virtual program. There were our pilot programs, so we're very thankful for them, and we hope that the people that got to participate in the virtual program will be very happy to meet in person the people that they first met online. So I think this is the point where I finish my presentation. I don't know if any of you have any comments or questions you would like to ask.
Thank you, Vicky, so much. And as Vicky has suggested, think about it for a moment. See if you have comments or questions or follow-up of any kind. While you think about that, I did not mention earlier that Mahesh is not with us this morning either. We mentioned Joe, of course, and his recovery from surgery. Maybe Joe and Kathy, I see Joe and Papa Joe and Kathy are here. So yeah, good to see you all. But keep Mahesh in your hearts and thoughts as well. He's still struggling with, I forgot, some kind of, I can't pronounce, you said you couldn't pronounce it, Ilsa. I can't pronounce it either. But Mahesh is still in pain and struggling with health issues. So be aware of that as well. We miss him this morning, of course. Questions or follow up? Hey, Vicky, how likely is it that in-persons can happen in El Salvador in the spring and summer of 2022? Is that in your assessment, given the pandemic and the difficulties that we're all having with it, El Salvador and the United States still, obviously, and most of the rest of the world, what are the your assessment as in terms of realistic possibilities?
I personally think it's something that can happen. Out of, in a 0 to 100%, I would say 80%.
Okay.
That's my personal opinion. But I would say something that we have to really keep an eye on. It's the social political situation in El Salvador.
Oh, right. Yeah. More so than COVID even.
Yeah. How it's relating to, especially because of how our government is relating to the United States. So I would say specifically that part. It will depend a lot on how things go. There are, and my colleagues here won't let me not lie, my Salvadoran colleagues, people are starting to be a lot more carefree. So I would think that will depend on that as well, because at least I have seen there is a particular stadium that it's being opened because of football games. And we all know what that means in this context. But we will have to see if that situation is controlled. I would say there is a big chance. If
Okay.
not, then we would have to see.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Adela put in the chat, she may want to articulate this herself, but I'm looking at it. She not only thanks you for your great work, Vicky, but wants to ask you in terms of your opinion and to elaborate a little bit on what ways do you think participating in a VEEP benefits the project partners? You kind of mentioned that they're excited to do that. How does it perhaps benefit them by way of their participation, not just the people who sign on to a VEEP, but the people who present you and particularly the project partners?
The first one, I would say, and the most direct one, it's of course the donations that each project partner gets whenever they participate. The donation that IPM provides the project partners. The second one, I would say, and somehow also very impactful, it's that they get another chance to share the work that they're doing, especially because in the pandemic, they have had to show so much resilience, and it's actually something you will see in the mini VEEP that we will have in November. But that they really have to transform their work to keep on being committed to social change and to keep on being committed to the people they already work with. So I think the VEEP provides a different platform for them to show the work that they're doing, and honestly to create this awareness or consciousness that there are so many other things going on in the world alongside the pandemic. Like, yes, the pandemic is important and it has to be tackled as something with such importance, but that doesn't mean, you know, that the work that Prayas is doing, it's not important, or the work that Pochabai is doing has stopped. No, it has to have kept going alongside. So to me, it helps that how can I put it? It makes the work that they're doing more visible, and I think it also makes makes it more impactful, I would say. I don't exactly know how to put it in words,
yeah.
But it gets other people to see that yes, there's the pandemic going on, but there is still people that are working for some other things, for some other things that are also important and that we should also be paying attention to.
Yeah,
I think
good.
Good.
Good. Thank you. Other questions, comments, or a follow-up of any kind? Ilse, anything on, I can't see Facebook, of course, but.
Yeah, nothing yet on Facebook, but I just wanted to add as some of the comments that have been shared on chat or, you know, verbally already, my appreciation for Vicky's presentation. I mean, as a colleague, I couldn't be more impressed with the commitment that Vicky has brought to this work. And also, Clint, you know, largely to you, you are the working group chair of the transformational learning of IPM's International Board. And there's a whole host of incredibly talented and committed educators who have been part of this process to help us figure out how to create this virtual program. So, you know, that working group has been tremendous. And just looking back at the history of our in-person immersions, there's been over 2,300, I'm sure Vicky could tell you the exact number, but 2,300 people that have walked with us in solidarity. And now, as Vicky has emphasized, the virtual programming allows us to expand our reach, to allow people that may not have been able to travel with us. It allows us to broaden our scope of engagement with presenters, in ways that we could only have imagined. And these types of programmings have been in the thoughts and in the work of the board in the past, but the pandemic certainly forced us into this reality in an expedited way, but it really does allow us to live out our mission much more fully, whether it's the virtual immersion program, whether it's these virtual forums that we have that are really opportunities to bring people together through education and awareness, and really, as we say, promote the inherent dignity, human dignity of all persons. That is the ultimate goal of IPM, and they're incredibly powerful. And, anyone that sees this program or is interested, please reach out. If you have any interest in participating, we'd love to have you. And thank you again, Vicky, to you, and Clint, to you, and all that have been involved.
Well, the working group has been involved, but Vicky has done far and away the lion's share of the work. So just be aware of that. And again, in a creative way and in a thorough way. I mean, if you've been on any of the VEEP, you just see all the material that Vicky has compiled on Google Classrooms, all the documents and articles and essays and statistics and background is just very impressive. Yeah.
Clint, I think Carol is reinforcing that comment. Carol is saying, that's me only able to do board meeting in El Salvador, but the VEEP program in India was something I'd never know otherwise. The VEEP gives me and others a chance to be involved. In a word, Vicky is amazing.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I think all of us are echoing that. Thank you, Carol.
Yeah, and Vicky said the Virtual Immersion Experience, November 10th through the 12th, El Salvador, is advertised for the board. Vicky just sent out an email to the board members yesterday, and I responded last night that fortunately, none of my classes, my 2 classes that I teach at Eden Seminary, conflict with that. So I'm going to be in on all sessions, and I'm looking forward to it, because I was just thinking, I've been to El Salvador 4 times over the past several years, but not recently, and I miss that. So this will be the next best thing, and hopefully by 2022, we'll be able to travel there in person. Just sort of on a personal note, I've seen Vicky so many times on Zoom and communicated with her by way of email and so on, that I feel like she's one of my best friends. And I certainly consider her one of my best friends, but I've never met her in person. So someday, and I've met, and I've never met Anita in person. I've met Fatima and I've met Adela in person. But someday I'm going to meet the whole El Salvador staff in person. So, and I'm looking forward to that. Others?
Sorry, I also wanted to add just a little something. Well, first of all, thank you all for your kind words. But personally, the ones I would like to thank the most are all of my colleagues here, and you, Clint, of course. And I don't know what would have done without Alyssa, without Adela, without Anita, who have worked against so much in the Google Classroom without me. Yes, definitely. Alyssa, with all her help. Again, to Bindia and to Himmat, because I know they are so involved in the India VEEPs, or whenever we have a session there. Sonny as well, like I said, I enjoyed when she was on the cast VEEP, and I think this personally to me has been so great to work in, because I have been given the opportunity to work more closely with my colleagues. I have told Bindia in the past, I admire her so much, because every time we would go on Zoom and learn about the work they are doing, I'm just impressed with everything she shares. The same with Sunny, the same with Hima. Thank you so much for not just sharing the work you do, but your personal histories with us, because that's really, really important. And as a colleague, I really appreciate it. And personally, just like you said, Clint, I feel the same way about you. And I would say a lot with Mahesh as well. He can tell
Sure.
you how many meetings we've had, and
Mm.
how we really feel connected, you know, as colleagues and as friends. And I really hope in the future we can be connected, not just by Zoom, which has been again a great way to
Yeah.
develop these relationships right now, but you know, to have that that close encounters that will be in person. But yes, again, thank you so much to each one of my colleagues, Ilsa as well, and well, of course, you know, Joe, definitely. So thank you so much. And now that I'm seeing again Jim and Joe and Kathy and Marty that have participated in a VEEP. I know Jim was last year for the India one with the board, and Joe and Kathy and Carol that were there for the India one this year as well. Just again, thank you so much for your continued support, because this is support to IPM and mainly to our project partners. I was really moved to see how involved you were with our project partners. So thank you.
Yeah, good. Well, I'm looking at chat and what Carol is saying. VEEPs are the closest I'll probably ever get to meeting each of you. Thank you. Yeah, I feel that way too. Only I'm hoping. Well, see, I was I was in on the board's India one too, and you're right, Vicky. Hemat and Bindia and Sony and Mahesh. Major, obviously, contributors to putting all of that together with your coordination. There's no question about that. And the part of the impact on me is it makes me want to go to India in person too, you see. So I'm not ruling that out. I have reached the age of retirement and beyond by about 5 years. But fortunately, at least so far, I'm in good health. And as far as I know, still able to travel, certainly within the United States. I do that all the time, but hopefully internationally. Now, I have had the pleasure of meeting Sony and Mahesh, not in India, but when they came to the United States. So that's been wonderful. But I haven't met Bindia, and I want to see them all again in their context. In person in their context. So hopefully not only will travel to El Salvador become possible in 2022, but India and some of these other places as well, Colombia, Nepal, the Dominican Republic, Kenya, all of those places. I'm not sure that I'll live long enough or stay healthy long enough to visit all of them, but they're on my list. Yeah. I have a T-shirt that my wife gave me several years ago for Christmas to that effect. I haven't been everywhere, but it's on my list. So we'll see. I'm looking at the clock here. We probably have about 4 or 5 more minutes. If there are other things that are occurring to you or you want to share, or either ask Vicky or share with the whole group. Bindia is saying she'll look forward to meeting me too. Thank you, Bindia, not only for your ongoing work, but for your participation in these sessions. And I hope to see you in India before too long. Yeah, good. Thank you. Are there others? I don't know whether this is appropriate, Ilsa, but we had mentioned, and see whether we can talk about this or not, that, and maybe Vicky, I don't know whether you can talk about this or not. I know personal contact with groups and schools in the United States is a possibility. Is that right? Or you're coming to the United States at some point? And can you talk about that at all, or is that a secret? No. Not a secret anymore, is it?
Not a secret anymore.
Yes, of course. No, it's not a secret. Yes, I will be visiting the States from October the 13th up to November the 4th. So for now, the main institutions we're visiting are Stonehill, Yale, South Virginia, and oh gosh, I missed one. And Holy Cross, sorry,
Okay.
and Holy Cross to talk about the program and discuss not just the VIPs but also in-person immersions. And I know Joe will also be trying to make more connections with other institutions so we can visit them. I would say it depends a lot on how Joe's health state will go. But we're very looking forward to it. Oh, sorry, I also forgot to mention we'll also be meeting with the people from John Carroll as well. So yeah, we're looking forward to making all those connections.
Part of the reason I ask is that I'm going to be in the Eastern United States during that week of October 11th through the 15th. I'm not sure where yet. And I don't know whether it's even possible to think about meeting up with you and Joe somewhere. But if you have a schedule, let me know. Like, we're going to be at Holy Cross this day, or we're going to be at such and such this day. And it's at least possible that I might be able to make a personal connection with you and Joe. I've done that we get a week off during our fall semester, and I've come to Maine before during those times, and Cleveland and so on. So let me know if you have a schedule when it gets set, and if that's possible. I like to travel and I like to drive, as some of you know. I drive all over the United States. I haven't figured out a way to drive to El Salvador yet, but maybe someday. But let me know, and if it's at all possible, we'll see about the possibility of getting together in person.
Sure, we'll love that. I'll email you about it.
Yeah, just email them at that point. Yeah. Anything else? We're within a minute or so of noon Eastern time, and we try to keep these to an hour. Again, continue. Are Joe and Kathy still with us? Tell Joe Jr. that we're thinking about him, and to take good. I know you're taking good care of him, and he's in good hands. But we hope he's not in too much pain, and we hope that he's going to see better and better as he recovers from this. Ilse, any final words from staff point of view?
Sure. Thank you all again for your time today. I would like to just mention that our next week's forum will feature Adela Zayas, who is our Director of International Partnerships and Programs, and also Regional Director for Latin America and the Caribbean. She will be focusing on updates in the Latin America region. And then on October 15th, we'll have Mahesh Upadhyaya, who is our Director for South Asia, and he will be highlighting work that our partners are doing in that region, of course, supported by his wonderful there. So we hope you can all join us again, and we'll keep you updated on our Facebook and other reminders.
Good. Thank you, Ilse. And again, Vicky, thank you so much for today. Ilse is the official host of this meeting, so she will end it. But I think we can be adjourned, and best wishes to all of you. Stay healthy, be careful, go in peace, and to be peacemakers. Yeah.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Have a
Take
good
care,
day.
everybody.
Bye.